11:41. Happy Halloween. I had a dream. I've been up since like 4, 5. Gave myself permission to stay in bed. Excuse my hair. I showered last night. I didn't do anything with it. So, this dream, I've been sitting with it all morning, trying to figure it out. And I looked up some stuff too. It was very symbolic. I guess I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling with having shared that news with him, my ex, and still struggling with the potential ripple effect of that news now that it's out. And I was thinking about it, and this morning, I was like, really like, wah wah, wallowing in my sorrow. I really was. And I was crying, and it just, there's still a sense of responsibility, really, for my ex. You know, there was a level of subtle codependency in our relationship, and not a lot of people, you can't see it, but it's there. And so I still feel responsible for his well-being, even though that's his responsibility. His healing is his responsibility. But I guess I still feel responsible for the pain that I caused. And I think it's because I think out of all the relationships, it's the one where I was more codependent, you know? And vice versa. I don't think he sees it now, but he will. How codependent he was on me for his sense of worth. The value that we placed on this marriage. And by default, the value that the other people around us placed on us, on this marriage, really. When we got married, it was during a time when my parents were splitting up. And there was so our marriage was a distraction for many people in our family of what was going on. It was a like light at the end of the tunnel. Which is why my sister and my brother really struggled with it. And why my parents struggled with it, really. Right? They looked to us as the one stable unit, if you will, until it wasn't. And hence why my parents reacted the way they did. And just everyone around us, the same shock. Because we were supposedly the couple to strive towards. Right from the outside. What people don't see. What people choose to see, really. That's what people choose to see. How they choose to value. And put a value on something outside of that. I mean, we had over 300 people at our wedding. I didn't know most of them. They were his parents, friends, family. I had mostly... It was just... Yeah. It was what it was. So there's still a sense of responsibility that I feel. And not realizing still. I mean, the dream helped me realize that there's going to be loss through this news coming out. There's going to be loss of relationships. People aren't going to understand. They're going to be quick to judge. Be placed in a good or bad category. Right? It's expected. It's expected. So, this dream that I had, I was selling shoes. I was helping people find their shoes. It was like I had a team and we were helping people find their shoes. Helping people find the right shoes. And so I looked that up. Dream of selling shoes. Selling shoes in your dream may mean you are ready to exchange your time and effort for something you value. It could be a job you are not very passionate about, but one with a good salary, enough to buy things you value. Ultimately, it could mean that you are exchanging your time for good money. But you have to be very careful as you pursue things of value. It is probable to miss out on other things you do not really like but are essential to you. Another interpretation of this dream is you are imparting knowledge to people that will help them stand on their feet later. So that was one. That made sense. I mean, for me, you know, in terms of, I mean, there's this whole, I was looking up more too, there's this whole spiritual meaning behind shoes. And so it made sense, right? I'm helping people, I'm giving information for people so that they can do things on their own, right? Through this process, clearly. But I also dreamed, in my dream, I mean, there were so many different elements of this dream that I had to really, like, sit with it. There was a part in my dream where I was going to the restroom. And I was trying, I was in private space, which was good, for a brief moment. And for a brief moment, I'm in this restroom and I'm trying to go, but I can see the plumbing. So the toilet is here, and then over here there's this pool, this little underground. It's the plumbing, it's the plumbing. So whatever I go here will come out here. and there was this feeling of like I needed to go too. But I couldn't because it was clogged. But it wasn't clogged in the sense of like, it was blocked. Not the toilet itself, but on this side, there was a huge ass octopus. A huge ass. It was dead. It was a dead octopus. But there was this feeling of like, I can't poop because there's an octopus there. And then I'll taint it, was what my thought was. Because for whatever reason, there was this awareness in me. I'm like, why is there this octopus there? And it's like we're getting ready to cook it. But I'm like, but it's attached to the toilet. Like, it's attached to the plumbing of the toilet. And I'm like, why would it be there? One. Two, why is it there if we're gonna cook it? I mean, that's what I assumed in my dream. So first I looked at clogged toilet, because there's an element of it being clogged. So it says that there's an indicator that something in your waking life is holding you back, or that you're holding yourself back from further growth and success. A clogged toilet could also be a sign that you need to be more understanding of yourself and your mistakes or regrets. Clearly, right? It's still bothering me. So I looked up octopus. So here's what I dreamt about that. Here's what I looked up about that. The meaning of dreaming about octopus is closely related to certain personal characteristics. To approach a problem from different angles. Let's see what stood out for me. The cause of the dream about octopus may be associated with a situation where you have a big mess that is hard enough for you to let go, as well as you may be a very sticky person in some of your personal relationships, which makes sense. It was a huge octopus, so I dreamt of a giant octopus. It reveals that you are a person with a complex personality and that you also have the ability to perform multiple tasks. This dream also reveals that you are a person who lives very stressed because of your responsibilities. Let's see. Dream of a dead octopus is usually a rare dream experience that has two interpretations. The first interpretation reveals that you may have managed to solve the problems that burdened you with good terms. The second interpretation indicates that you may feel defeated and feel that you are unable to overcome the present obstacles. Other dreams is that there are a lot of problems around you. You have a lot of responsibilities to take care of, though you know where to start. It's time for you to get active and start solving every problem. Dreaming of octopus in clean water. In a way, it was clean. Like, it was clean, so there was this feeling of I needed to hold back to not taint it. So it says dreaming of octopus in clean water is the way your subconscious shows you that lie you recently discovered. I brought up a lie, right? Clean water lets you see everything clearly. So there's that. It was this other part of the dream. About dang it, I guess I didn't screenshot that one. So in the restroom, I mean, there were a lot of other things that was going on, but what stood out was that I was checking my body and then I felt another nipple. Chandler. And Chandler's their nipple. There was a nipple. But it wasn't one of these. It was another one. And I was able to like look at it and I'm just like, what the hell? With this nubbin, right? And it starts to bleed. It's not like oozing. It's like very lightly bleeding. But it's concerning only because like that's a sign for women. That's a sign in terms of like our nipples, right? That if your nipples, like if you squeeze it and it oozes out, like you need to go get it checked. Well, fortunately it wasn't one of mine, but it was this third nipple. And so I was trying to find out what that meant, and I couldn't. There's different interpretations. One is like that I'm about to go into a difficult phase financially. Another one is that I'm in a difficult relationship. There's fear of losing people. There's fear of losing people and things. And so it just, again, this realization, right? It makes sense, right? I may lose connections because of this coming out. I may lose people who aren't in agreement or who take sides, you know, who choose to categorize it as good or bad. And I'm okay with that. I have to be okay with it. My Chiron is in Taurus. It's about loss of relationships, right? People are gonna block me. They're gonna unfriend me. They're gonna... That's just how people do people, you know? I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then even thinking about it, and I thought about it some more, I was just like, there was another part of my dream where it was family. Like, my brother was there. I had aunts that I, like, it was interesting because I was just like, there's a lot of people that I don't... But it was just a lot of family. And again, this just recurring perception of us in our families and how they perceived us. How they perceived us, really, right? They indirectly put us on this little pedestal of a good couple. So it only makes sense, right? When you do that, when you put people up on a pedestal, they fall hard. In your eyes, they fall hard. Expectations. So I guess it was still bothering me. Clearly, my dream was like, and this isn't something about the future. This, because it had the toilet scene, I was like, it's about what's happening right now, right? It's about my healing. It's about things being lifted. It's about, and that was a huge one that was looming for, you know, most of my marriage. It really was. And it doesn't mean that he was a waste of time or that I loved him any less. I was trying to make it work, and I was coping. I was trying to cope, really. And do I love this other person? Yes, I still do, very much. I don't regret my decisions. Everything unfolded exactly as it needed. The ripple effect, right? We don't realize the ripple effect. But it's, everything is purposeful. Everything is purposeful. So, anyways, that was my dream. There were other elements of my dream. Other people in my dream where I was just like, I don't know if I trust you. I'd have to sit with that other part, but these were the parts that kind of stood out for me in terms of what's going on. And in terms of my healing, and I really struggled getting out of bed this morning. Really struggled. And I cried, and I just like, you know, just sometimes where you're just like, I just want to lay in here and not go out, not impact the world at all. Like, just feel safe. And then Abraham Hicks thoughts came up in my head of like, what vibration am I putting out? What vibration am I putting out through this experience? And then the part of me was just like, I'm gonna give myself permission to lay in bed. Because I need it right now. I just needed to just lay in bed. close my eyes. Pretend it's just a train. And then remind myself, it's a new day. It's a new day. New opportunity to do things differently, right? Learn the lessons and move on. New people. I don't know about that yet. Honestly, like after this experience with my ex, like there's this feeling of like I don't want to let anybody. And I don't know why. I don't want to. I don't know if it's just because I have to sit with it for a little bit longer. I don't know why. But I feel more guarded. For sure, I feel more guarded. So we'll see. We'll see.
Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best.